Well, my name is Jim Bates. I've been a public servant for 30 years. I started my career in 1987 as a firefighter. Went on to EMT school and paramedic school, right closely behind there. So for 30 years, I've been serving the public, basically. I retired last year from Hickman County EMS in July of 2017. I went to work for the Hickman County school system here in Hickman County. I've coached football for 12 years, baseball, softball. I'm an umpire. I'm a high school official for Tennessee Secondary School Athletics. I am the umpire-in-chief over the entire state of Tennessee for Dixie Baseball. I worked as a sheriff deputy reserve officer for a little over a year, I think, until the program went away here in Hickman County. Let's see, I worked for the county coroner's office as well during my stint with EMS here in Hickman County. I was with them for about 9 years. I was a medical legal death investigator. My wife, she gave me the ultimate compliment the other day. She said, she said, with everything you've done in this county, you've literally touched the lives of every single family in this county in one way, shape, form, or fashion. And that's a big compliment. And after thinking about it for a little while, I had a little while to soak in, and I thought about what she said, and she's right. So I appreciate a compliment from her. Well, I have a vision of an achievable future, but it's going to take a lot of hard work on my part to do that. I'm a big advocate for the infrastructure. I do want to see growth in Hickman County. There's just a lot that has to be done before we can achieve that growth. Hickman County is behind times. They are. It's not a secret. There's things that this county could be doing and should be doing to facilitate prior or businesses to come to our county, and we just haven't done that. So that's going to be my main focus there, and in turn, that's going to hit the top three things on my list. The infrastructure being one of them. It's going to be my job also as county mayor to work along with the sheriff's department, because that is part of that infrastructure. The school system with the superintendent, that as well is part of the infrastructure that I always talk about. We have companies, before they ever move into a community, they look at things like this, and everything almost has to be just right to facilitate that business, or they're not going to come. Right. It's also going to be my job to help facilitate those and not wrangle them. I will say that, but to go out and get the businesses to come here. Saving lives. I mean, 30-year stint in emergency services, that was an easy one. I'm proud of the fact that I have met a multitude of people along the way, and I was able to help them. By being county mayor, it will be helping people, but in a different circumstance. It won't be at an emergency scene. Well, it could be, because I'm still a paramedic. I still have my paramedic license. I'm trying to put myself in a position where I can help multitudes of people, and I would like to help not almost all 25,000, but there is almost 25,000 in population here in Hickman County. So I would like to be put in a position where I can help every one of them. Well, there's quite a few issues that every county and state face. Hickman County, that's because that's what we're talking about right now. We have issues of our own. We have, there's a cleanup resolution that did not pass. I think it needs to go back to the drawing board and be repaired, so to speak. But our county commissioners, they did vote it down. There's things that this county can do to take pride in itself. And I think the cleanup resolution is one of the big ones. I don't, I'm a firm believer that you shouldn't tell others how to live, but at the same time, when we have visitors here to our county that especially are here for tourism reasons, we want it to look nice for them. And I think everybody, if they took pride in Hickman County and help clean it up, then I think we would be well on the right track. In my campaign trail so far, almost everybody I talk to, jobs is a big thing.
Yeah.
And here again, Hickman County is way behind on the infrastructure part of this to maintain businesses to be here. I want to change that. And like I said, that's my key, is to work solidly on the infrastructure. At the same time, I want to serve with openness and integrity to the citizens of Hickman County, and my door will always be open to them for their concerns, and as it should be. Mm-hmm. But there again, I think some of the problems that face Hickman County, I've had people complain about their water bills, which is a big one. It's going to be the mayor's job. I hope it's my job, but if not, the mayor is going to have to contend with that to help facilitate not only the citizens, but get everything in order to where the water bills come down and the taxes come down and everything like that. Once we start getting businesses into Hickman County, obviously the sales tax revenue will help out a great deal. It's no secret that our EMS people and our sheriff's department and our police, they don't make near the money that they should be.
Right.
And it's hard, when you got almost 700 square miles to cover in an emergency situation. Well, you're with the rescue squad, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. We should have funding for these things, and especially our fire departments. I think that is a big deal, because the ISO rating is also a part of the infrastructure.
Yes.
That's something that companies don't want to come in here and pay $20,000 a year on fire insurance, and they shouldn't have to.
Right.
And if they do, they're not very well going to come. So that's kind of the way they look at it. So I think there's going to be a big drive with me to work on those parts of that to make them better, as well as water, sewer, and broadband and things like that. Well, I want to tend to maybe a manufacturer of some sort, and the reason I say that is because it brings more jobs. And how it's going to bring more jobs is because whatever they make at their manufacturing facility, they're going to have to ship out. Mm-hmm. So now you have more truck drivers. And it just keeps escalating that way. However, I would like to see some retailers, come to our county because of the sales tax. And I know everything is about money, money, money. Thank you. When we deal with county government, which is a good thing because that's what helps. But it's not always about the money. It's about getting the job done. And like I say, I would just like to see a manufacturer come in here, one of the first things, to supply people with jobs. That way they don't have to drive so far outside of our county to go somewhere else. The other part of me says, the retailers would be good, even though they don't employ very many people, but it keeps sales tax revenue here. Mm-hmm. That will greatly enhance this county. Well, not right off. I know that there's a lot of things that probably could be changed. Mm-hmm. I think sometimes counties spend needlessly. I don't, without actually going through the budget, I know they're still, they're getting ready to pass this year's budget, this fiscal year, I guess, and it starts July 1, which that was a couple days ago. Yeah. But I need everybody to understand that whatever happens, whoever becomes the mayor, they're just kind of stuck with this budget. There's nothing they're going to be able to do to change anything in it. Now, year 2, be a little different story. And like I say, I do think that there's possibly some ways to cut in the budget without cutting services. I think there's ways to maybe move things around in the budget to facilitate other things, mm-hmm. Such as your fire departments and things like that. Well, state and federal grants, there's a term that's not taken lightly sometimes. I think some of them are good, and I'm going to explain why. Because some grants, they put so much stipulations on everything that you do, and I'm going to use one for EMA. For instance, back when I was with EMS, I worked closely with the EMA director on a grant that I think it was a federal grant that they received, or they was going to receive, and they told us to write down everything that we could possibly need. So we did. Well, then they come back and said, well, you can't do this, can't do that, and they started marking things off of it. So the grant started out some astronomical number, and it went down to not so astronomical. So I think grants help, but I don't. We just have to be careful which grants we pursue. There are grants out there from the state and federal level that will allow us to enhance the county without so many stipulations on them. And I think that's the ones that we need to pursue. I'm not all about free money, but it is out there. And I think Hickman County needs to take the opportunity to receive some of that funding to enhance the county to make it better for its citizens. To begin with, I think the mayor needs to work with the county commission in one way, shape, form, or fashion to get things done for the citizens. I think to keep them involved is very important. It's kind of like the president of the United States. He's going to come out and tell you, my goal as mayor, I would love to have a press conference, so to speak, maybe once every 6 months or once a year to let people know. And that's just one avenue that I've thought about. I think putting it on Facebook Live, I think that was a wonderful idea. That gives the people a chance to see what is actually going on, what's being voted on. And like I say, I'm going to serve with openness and integrity. My office will always be open for the citizens to voice their concerns. If they see a resolution that was passed that they don't like, I'm a firm believer in our Constitution. Freedom of speech is a big one. There again, my office is always open, and they can come and talk to me about it, and I will keep them informed the best way that I can. Well, election's right here on us.
It's coming up soon.
It is coming up. I just, I want to continue my work to help the people. And, after 30 years, I've worked with 3 different county governments, 2 city governments, and the state of Tennessee. I was able to work with them well enough to make changes to make the citizens' lives better. Now, a lot of that was geared towards emergency services and things like on that nature, but I think by being county mayor, I'll be able to work with those entities still and be able to make change for the better for Hickman County. So on August 2nd, I would appreciate everybody's consideration and vote for county mayor. That's Jim Bates. And I always tell everybody, at the end of it, and if you vote early, still vote Jim Bates. So I'm excited. I've learned a lot on this campaign trail. I've enjoyed every minute of it. I've enjoyed meeting people. That's the greatest thing in the world, because we need each other. It's not about me wearing a mayor's hat. I think the mayor's job, on top of everything else, I think not only does he need to be a leader, but he needs to be a servant as well. Yeah. And I wrote that in one of my questionnaires that I had so far. And it takes me back to where Jesus was talking to his disciples. And he told them, he said, you call me Lord and teacher. Well, I am. And basically he told them, he washed their feet, and he told his disciples, you should do the same, because here's why. Because, I'm telling you that the messenger is no better, is no higher than the one who sent the message, or no lower, basically. And I think that right there in itself has taught me a lot. And I think it has taught me that a little bit about humility in there when I was reading that passage. And it teaches me to be a servant as well as be a leader. Yeah. So I think whatever I do, it obviously corresponds or relates to my attitude towards others, and I think it's a good thing.